Welcome to this week's Friday 5 in 5. This week I'm talking about 5 images that changed the way that I took photographs. I hope you're well. Welcome to this week's Friday 5 in 5. I hope you guys have had a good week. I've had an interesting week, shall we say. There was no vlog out on Monday. I do apologise for that, but I didn't have time to get anything out. I didn't just want to cobble anything together just to put out a vlog for the sake of it. So unfortunately nothing came out, but I did go to London on Monday for a little bit of street photography, which was a day of two halves. It really was a day of two halves. But the vlog from that will be out next Monday. So I think you might enjoy that. I really enjoyed filming it. I've really enjoyed editing it, and I'm really pleased with the images. So something to look forward to possibly. Before we get started on this week's 5 in 5, a couple of things. I just want to say that I've written a new blog this week. You might be interested to take a look at it. It's regarding other vloggers and what motivates them, or what motivates people after they get to the point where they can monetize their vlogs. Do we change? Does our motivation change? It might be a bit controversial, I don't know, but it's out there now. So if you want to read it, go check it out. It's on my website. I'll put the link in the description below. Also, while we're on the subject of my website, I'm going to be doing a lot of work on that over the next few weeks to try and fill it out a bit more. I want to get all links to all of my videos on there. I want to get all of my images on there in decent high definition. I'm going to write a few more blogs hopefully. So yeah, go check that out. That should be growing a bit more over the next few weeks. So let's talk about my recommendation of the week. It's getting a bit more tricky, I'm not going to lie, to keep picking things out each week, because I don't want to just bombard you with fellow vloggers. So this week I want to point in the direction of a new podcast that's come out, and it's actually from 3 very popular and well subscribed to vloggers. It's I think they're calling it Photo Nerds. It's Paul Johnson, Adam from First Man Photography, and Gary Goff. I listened to it on the train on the way down. This is episode 1. I listened to it on the train on the way down to London on Monday, and it was yeah, it was very interesting. I really like Paul Johnson as a vlogger. I think he's fantastic. Not massively sold on the other 2 as vloggers, just my own personal opinion. I'm sure lots of people like them. Well, obviously lots of people like them, have a lot of followers, but they did make a very interesting podcast. And yeah, they were talking about gear, and it moved on into talking about Photoshop and Lightroom, and then they were talking about tripods, and I think they touched on drones. So yeah, it's quite interesting, well worth a listen, I would say. And that's my recommendation this week. Go and check out the podcast, and if you haven't checked out Paul Johnson, then definitely go check him out, because he's a top vlogger. So let's get on to the topic of this week's Friday 5 in 5. This week I'm talking about 5 photographs that I have taken personally that then changed the way that I took other photographs moving forward. Now, I'm not saying by any means that these photographs are award-winning or groundbreaking, but they're just something personal to me that helped me to understand something about my photography that helped me to move on to the next level. So that being said, let's get the clock up here and let's get started. Number 1 is this image behind me, or well, a series of images. That image is more indicative of the rest of the series. And this was the first time that I really started to see something in landscape photography and composition. I took this one back in 2008 when I was on an island hopping holiday in Greece. This was taken on my iPhone, which I think was either the first iteration of iPhone or the iPhone 2. It's like 2 megapixels, but it's not about the quality, it's more about the image itself, and the fact that I started to work out how to use foregrounds, how to use leading lines, how to use diagonals. And when I returned home and looked at the images, I realized that I'd started to think a little bit more as a photographer rather than someone who was just taking snaps. This really was the first steps in me becoming a proper photographer, if you like. And it wasn't long after this that I bought my first interchangeable lens camera, which was a Panasonic Lumix G2. Number 2 is this image, which is from Stevington Windmill. This was taken in early 2013, and it really marked the beginning of me being more serious about photography. So whereas before I would go out and take pictures, on this instance and then moving on from here, I was going out to take pictures. And I used a tripod for the first time. I had a Canon Rebel T3i, I think it was 550D, I think, or something. A Canon 10 to 20mm wide angle lens, and sat it on the tripod and composed it all and worked out all my shots. Got home, over processed it, or processed it to within an inch of its life, stuck it on Flickr, and it was explored. And to me that was like absolutely amazing at the time, because, you know, wow, I never get that sort of thing. So it's just something that really marked a change in the way that I went to take photos. It is hideous though. Number 3 is this one, which is taken from Llyn something, just outside Capel Curig in Snowdonia. So the reason I picked this one is not about the image, it's about the effort that went into getting this image. So I actually travelled to Snowdonia. I left my house at 11 o'clock in the evening, arrived there at 3 o'clock in the morning, slept for an hour in the car. I just captured this one while it was still dark. Obviously there was no sun up at all, and I think that's about the best the conditions got all day. And it's 4 to 4.5 hours from my house to Snowdonia, so it was sort of like a 8 or 9 hour round trip in terms of driving, and then 4 or 5 hours in Snowdonia specifically just to try and get these images, because I really wanted something that was more than I could get locally. So again, it was another step forward. Actually, if you look at the image, it's not amazing. The foreground's pretty hideous, and there's not a lot of detail in the darks, but yeah, it's more about the effort that went into getting the image than the image. Number 4 is the best image I've ever taken to date. It's this one here, which is, I'm sure, unless you've been on another planet, you'll know it's the lone tree at Llyn Padan. Prior to this image, I'd taken some okay images that weren't, you know, right up there with sort of good standard, but this one, straight out of the camera, was just a class above everything else I'd taken. And it made me realise that I can take good images. And that was taken back in February last year when I went to Wales for a few days. And it didn't necessarily move my photography onto the next level, because I don't think I've taken a better image since then. So I've gone a year and I feel like I've plateaued. But it gave me the belief and the confidence to say that yes, I can take good images. And number 5 is this image here from London. Now this isn't an award-winning image. It's not even an amazing image. But the importance of this image is that it gave me confidence that I can take decent street photography images, and B, gave me confidence that I could edit decent street photography images. That image I took, which was back in August, my second ever street photography trip, helped me to believe that, or made me feel that, yeah, do you know what, actually, I think I could probably turn my hand to street photography as well. So, and that's moved me forward now, because prior to that I was very much a landscape photographer and vlogger, and now I'm a bit of both. I feel like I can do a bit of street photography and vlogging as well, which actually has kind of taken off more than the landscape. So, but yeah, it's that image really showed me that I could do it. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little 5 in 5, that little sort of walkthrough of my photography history. To be honest with you, there were lots of other images that I could have used in the place of those, but I felt that those 5 really were big turning points in terms of not only my photography technique, but also the effort that I was prepared to put in to get the photographs. I'd love to see if you guys actually have any images yourself which you feel were a real turning point in your photography career. If you want to, then why not stick a link in the comments below and I'll take a look, or you can message me either via email, through my website or Facebook. I genuinely would be interested to see if you've got anything like that, because I'm sure we all have those photos like I just showed you, where you feel like you moved on to the next level. So anyway, like I said, you can check out my blog if you want to read about my thoughts on monetization. You can check out my website. Like I said, over the coming weeks, I'm going to be fleshing it out a lot more and getting a lot more detail into it. Don't forget to check out the Photo Nerds podcast, and don't forget to check out my vlog on Monday, which I'm super happy about. Super happy. Who says super happy? Like I said, I'm really excited about the whole vlog itself, but I think the images might be another one of those moments where I step forward. So please feel free to check that out. Anyway, hope you guys have a great week, and I will see you next time.